So a couple good friends of mine, Mark and Shanda, they've been begging me to make some beef jerky for them. I'm kidding. I really do owe them a big favor here. They've really gone out of their way for me, especially since I found out I have cancer. Mark was gracious enough to mow my yard and clean up all the leaves. And Shanda made this amazing chili for me and gave me pumpkin pie and did numerous other things for me. So I really do owe them a lot, and I'm sure I'm going to be making beef jerky for them for the rest of my life. Just kidding, but I got a lot of free time right now, so I'm just waiting for these proton treatments to start up next week. So I'm like, you know what? I'll make some beef jerky for my good friends here and make a video out of it. Give me something to do. And you know me, I like spreading my knowledge. And I've been told my beef jerky is amazing. So, and I'm not trying to be biased, but it is really good. So enough of the BS. Let's get on with this, and I'll show you how to make my world famous Elfster's jerky. I gotta be picky. There's a solid flank of meat all the way through the roast. A little bit on the side doesn't hurt, but as long as you can tell, there's solid meat all the way through. This one you can tell there's too much fat on it. And this one looks like a good roast. Same with this one, even though there's a little fat on this. Once you freeze it up, cut it into slices, and then cut out the fat, should be good to go. Top round and sirloin tip roast works really good too. Just as long as they're super lean, very little fat. These, for example, have way too much fat, way too much gristle on them. This would be a really bad roast to pick. For example, like this Iowa ground roast, you can tell it's solid meat all the way through, even though it's got a little bit of fat on the side. You can cut that off really easy. Once you partially freeze it, cut it in 1/4 inch or a little bit less than 1/4 inch thick slices, and then cut off the fat and the gristle. Should be good to go. Okay, so for the first step, the first thing you want to do is partially freeze the roast. You don't want it rock hard, but you don't want it soft. You want it just to the point where it's damn near frozen. So when you cut this roast up into roughly 1/4 inch, maybe a little less than 1/4 inch slices, it makes perfect, even, consistent cuts. So depending on the size of the roast, how thick it is, usually it takes about 2 to 4 hours. Just make sure it doesn't go any further than that, because things rock hard. Obviously it's going to be impossible to cut. You're going to have to wait for it to thaw out. So put it in the freezer for roughly 2 to 4 hours. Take it back out. Trust me, it'll make life a lot easier for you for making consistent cuts all the way through the roast. Alright, now that the roast is partially frozen, can't stress the importance of having a sharp knife. So don't worry about cutting out the fat right away. Cut the whole roast up into 1/4 inch strips just like this. Maybe just a little bit less than 1/4 inch. Once you get it all cut up in little strips like this, then worry about taking out the fat and the gristle. Now at this point, this is where you cut out all your fat and then cut it into strips. You want absolutely no fat when you're making jerky. The leaner, the better. All right, so when you get to this point, pay close attention to the labels on the roast. One roast was 2.89 pounds, let's say 3. This one's kind of worn off, but it was 4 pounds. So that's 7 pounds of total meat that we cut up. You know, I'm guessing we probably cut out about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of fat and grizzle. So that leaves us with roughly about 5, I'm guessing 5.5 pounds. So keep that in mind when you're getting your labels and you don't throw them away. You're going to need to know that when you add your seasoning for your hickory and your red pepper flakes. Now don't let this go to waste. I'll cut this up for stir fry or stews. So it's actually good meat, so don't let it go to waste. And then at this point, you got to let this fully defrost before you add in your seasonings. So I've seriously tried every known brand name of jerky cure and seasonings, and I've come to the conclusion that this High Mountain hickory blend is the best. I've even tried the other flavors of High Mountain's jerky cure and seasoning, and to be honest with you, I was totally impressed. Hickory blend is by far my favorite. It seems like everyone else that tries it likes that the most. You can buy this, I know, at Festival Foods. You can buy it at, even at Menards. You can even go on Amazon.com and buy it. Now it comes to the actual amount of seasonings and cure that you need to add to your meat. Just follow the directions that comes in the package. I actually like the flavor. Seems like everyone else that tries my jerky, they like it too. So just follow this and you should be fine. Now personally, I like to add red pepper flakes to my seasoning also. So follow the directions that comes in the box and then add 3/4 of a teaspoon, not tablespoon, but teaspoon, 3/4 teaspoon for every pound of meat. Okay, so when you get to this point, simply all you gotta do is put all this in Ziploc bags, squeeze all the air out of them, seal them, and put it in the refrigerator for a minimum of 24 hours. That's it. So if you haven't purchased your dehydrator yet, I highly recommend getting a Lem, L-E-M brand dehydrator. It's a really high-end professional grade dehydrator. Also, it has square trays, regular round trays. It makes it much easier for laying out the meat or whatever you're dehydrating. I got this one on sale for $100. I think usually regular price are about 130 bucks, but if you search hard and long enough on the internet, like Amazon, I think Home Depot has them. Usually you can get them for about $100. Now when you're laying out the meat on the trays, just leave about a 1/4 inch gap between the meat, and then I kind of like tug and squeeze out the meat so they lay flat on the trays. And in terms of the amount of time that you set your dehydrator to, obviously that's going to be different depending on the brand name and the size of your dehydrator, and obviously how much you're dehydrating. But for this Lem Dehydrator, completely filled to the max, usually we'll do it for about 4 to 6 hours. And you might want to start out with maybe 4 hours, set the timer for 4 hours, check on the meat, see what you think, if it's been dehydrated enough. And you can always set it longer rather than setting it too long and over dehydrating your meat from the get-go. So now for the Lem Dehydrator, if it's completely full, usually I would do mine for about 5 hours, but it's going to completely depend on your dehydrator, how powerful it is, how big or small it is, how much you're dehydrating. So this is something you're going to have to test on your own. But if you do purchase a Lem Dehydrator, about the max amount of meat you're ever going to get into that dehydrator is about 6 pounds of cut meat. So I think we're going to start with 5 hours. I can always increase that about an extra hour if I feel the need to. And I always go on max temperature at 155 with this Lem Dehydrator. But like I said before, it's going to be completely dependent on the brand name, the size of it, and how much you're dehydrating. So this is something you're going to have to test on your end. I guarantee you will like this jerky so much that if you don't, you can send it to me and I'll eat it all. So at this point, and I've tested this jerky already at 5 hours, and it's perfect. I wouldn't go any more than that. I wouldn't go any less than that, as long as you follow what I just did. Now, that's with the Lem Dehydrator. If you have a different dehydrator, it's going to be completely different. So you're going to have to test it as you go. Other than that, what I like to do is just leave it in the dehydrator for about 1 to 2 more hours with the power shut off, just to let the extra water evaporate. You do not want to put hot jerky in bags in the refrigerator. Let it cool down for an hour. I would say, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, just to let it completely cool down. Let it rest. Let the extra water evaporate. And you can go ahead and start eating it. Put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in the refrigerator, and it will stay good for a couple weeks. But I guarantee you, this jerky is so amazing, and I've had my friends and family tell me it is so good that I should probably be selling it. So I hope this helps you out, and I'll talk to you all later.